Christmas is a time for family, warmth, and festive cheer, with carols, presents, and comfy sweaters. Christmas is hardly a time that invokes fear, but if you like horror but still need to get the festive atmosphere going, we have just the right movies for you. Welcome back to Marvelous Videos. Today we are looking into Christmas horror movies to stuff your watch list full of holiday horror. And don't worry, this list is not limited to the popular horror tales of Krampus and the like. We have a list that contains movies that you probably have never heard of. So without much further ado, let's ride into this list. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Better Watch Out. Chris Peckover's holiday slasher movie, Better Watch Out, begins with Ashley, a 17-year-old, babysitting 12-year-old Luke Lerner. Luke is romantically attracted to Ashley, but she refuses to acknowledge his feelings, as he's still a child. Luke's friend Garrett arrives, and as they are watching a movie together, a brick is thrown inside the house with an inscription telling them that if they leave, they will die. Terrified, Garrett runs out, but is shot by an unseen gunman. Ashley and Luke run into Luke's room and hide in the closet as a masked gunman enters the house. Ashley, recognizing Luke's face mask on the gunman, demands that he removes the mask. It turns out to be Garrett, as Luke had planned this to scare Ashley and later stage a rescue that would make her fall in love with him. Ashley rebukes him, but Luke knocks her out and ties her up. Her boyfriend Ricky comes to the house to meet Ashley, but he too is knocked out and tied with her. Luke, in the process of knocking him out, accidentally kills Ricky. Ashley breaks out of her ties and tries to yell for help, but Luke knocks her out again. Using her phone, he lures in her ex-boyfriend Jeremy and asks him to write an apology letter for her. As soon as he finishes writing the letter, Luke kills him, making it look like a suicide with the apology acting as a suicide note. He stabs Ashley, frames Jeremy for the murders, and goes back to bed. When his parents return, they call the cops, and Ashley survives, as she had duct taped her wound till they showed up. The movie ends with Luke innocently asking his parents whether he could visit Ashley in the hospital. Better Watch Out is an unexpected horror movie, especially if you have a penchant for psychological thrillers and creepy kids. There are many similarities and mentions of Home Alone in this movie, as Luke captures his babysitter and tortures her friends with homemade booby traps. Children are often seen as innocent and hopeful, especially around Christmas time, as Santa is expected to bring them presents. The selflessness and cunning of Luke and Garrett in the movie will surely make you think twice before offering to look after your neighbor's kids for the holidays.
Chloe!
The Children. This 2008 movie by Tom Shanklin and Paul Andrew Williams continues the trend of creepy kids. Elaine visits her sister Chloe's family with her husband Jonah and kids Miranda, Polly, and Casey. Chloe is married to Robbie and has 2 kids, Nikki and Leah. Soon, the kids begin throwing black bile and behaving weirdly, which the parents initially chalk it up to motion sickness and tiredness. Their violent behavior escalates the next day when Miranda attacks Chloe and Nick kills Robbie using a rake. Casey seems to be the only child unaffected by this strange illness, as the rest of the kids begin attacking their siblings and parents. Jonah tries to call for help, but thanks to the weather, it does not go through. Meanwhile, the kids mutilate Robbie's body. It's complete mayhem as the parents try to escape, as they can't bring themselves to hurt their children, while the children menacingly attack them. In the end, only Elaine survives with Casey, and as they drive away, Casey throws up, indicating that she too is affected by the virus. Simply put, The Children tells the story of a relaxing vacation that turns into a survival game. Quite literally, the true horror lies in the inability of the parents to tell which of their children's behavior is just kids being kids. Needless to say, The Children is a parent's worst nightmare, and a great watch. That is if you don't have kids.
Merry Christmas, Frank.
Christmas Evil. Harry Stadling, a low-level worker at a toy factory named Jolly Dream, had a difficult relationship with Santa Claus after he saw his father dressed as one and groping his mother. Ever since then, he's determined to be the true Santa Claus and often dresses up in a Santa suit. He even begins to spy on the neighborhood children to see if they are naughty or nice. His colleagues consider him a schmuck, as he is very gullible, and his brother Phil is concerned with his odd behavior. In his Christmas office party, the owner of the factory announces a donation scheme to give toys to children at the local hospital. if the workers contribute money of their own. On Christmas Eve, Harry glues on a beard and begins to believe he is Santa Claus. He steals toys from his factory and starts going into houses to leave them for the kids in his van, which is painted as a sled. He leaves mud in front of the doors of kids he believes are bad. He enters the house of a colleague who lied to him and kills him, but he leaves toys for his colleague's kids. Harry also kills some young men who taunt him. As Santa Claus, he doesn't forget his duties and visits a hospital urging the kids there to be good and nice. People soon catch up about the murderous Santa and attack him. Harry, trying to escape them, drives off a bridge. Christmas Evil, the 1980 movie by writer-director Lewis Jackson, poses a dilemma for the viewers. Originally known as Terror in Toyland, and you better watch out, Christmas Evil is a gore-filled slasher flick. Harry, who is portrayed by Brandon Maggart, is not a villain you completely despise. He is an anti-hero, as he murders along his way to spread holiday cheer. He is a simple man with strong morals and even stronger delusions. In a world corrupted by corporate greed, Harry is the answer to the question, what if Santa Claus also doled out harsh punishments? Dead End. The 2003 movie Dead End begins with Frank Harrington, an American family man, driving with his family to his in-laws. His wife Laura and his kids Richard and Marion are in the car with Marion's boyfriend Brad. Frank decides to take a shortcut to spice things up as his usual route is boring. They come across a woman in white who is holding a baby. She requests a ride to a nearby cabin, but as the car is full, Marion offers to follow on foot. While Laura, Richard, and Frank explore the cabin, Brad asks how the baby can breathe as its face appears to be covered. The woman tells him that the baby is dead and shows him the corpse. Brad's horrified yelling is heard by the others, who rush back to the car but see it empty. Marion, meanwhile, sees a hearse drive by from which Brad appears to be screaming for help. Marion rushes to her family and has them follow the hearse, but they find his body on the road. The hearse reappears and kidnaps Richard. As they run to save him, they find Richard dead on the road. As they try to find a road back home, Laura begins to act erratic and shoots Frank's leg. She claims to see a friend's face in the woods and goes to visit her, even though the friend she spoke about has been dead for years. The hearse reappears and Frank tries to ward it off by shooting it, but the bullet strikes Laura. Frank is attacked by the woman in white and he begins acting insane. He attacks Marion and beats her till she loses consciousness. Frank spots the woman in white again and tries to follow her to the woods, but is killed. Marion wakes up in the hospital, where the doctor tells her that she's the only one who survived the car crash. As he leaves, the man who got Marion into the hospital offers a ride to the doctor, and he is seen driving the hearse that they all saw. A road trip gone horribly wrong. Dead End will show up as a deterrent every time you decide to take a shortcut across the word. Premiering in the Festival International, the film Fantastique de Gerardmer, Dead End is a wonderful blend of a psychological thriller with supernatural elements. You will soon be rooting for the dysfunctional family as they attempt to battle their way out of a Christmas nightmare. Anna in the Apocalypse. If you like the musicals but are tired of watching the same old nutcracker movies, this 2017 movie is perfect for you. Anna Shepherd, a high schooler in New Haven, Scotland, leads a typical life of teenage drama. She wants to travel the world, but her widowed father, Tony, doesn't want her to. John, her artist friend, is secretly in love with her, while her one-night stand Nick keeps bothering her. Her friends, Chris, Lisa, and Steph, are also going through the motions as they struggle with school. Unknown to them, a zombie infection is spreading while they prepare for their Christmas show. The next day, Anna and John encounter a zombie and accidentally kill one. They join Steph and Chris and hide in a bowling alley. They realize that the army is also infected by the zombie virus, and they cannot expect any help from them. Nick leads them all to school. On the way, John sacrifices himself to save Anna. In the school, their vice principal, Mr. Savage, locks down the school with the help of Tony and Lisa. Mr. Savage tries to maintain control, but as the others plan an evacuation, he lets the zombies in to gain back control. Steph locates car keys to escape while the others fight zombies. Tony reveals that he too has been bitten, while Chris and Lisa succumb to the zombie bite. Steph gets into a car and saves Anna and Nick, the last survivors, and they drive away, looking for a safe haven. Anna and the Apocalypse, as the trailer claimed, is Shaun of the Dead meets La La Land. It is an adaptation of the short film Zombie Musical, released in 2011 and directed by Ryan McHenry. Anna and the Apocalypse is a wonderful cacophony of musicals, comedy, and zombies. Definitely a fun horror watch for the holidays.
Дед Мороз?
Santa's Sleigh. Ho 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 turns to Ho 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 horror as Santa turns demonic in the 2005 movie Santa's Sleigh. Directed and written by David Steinman, an argument around the dining table in Canada is interrupted by Santa Claus, who murders everyone at the table in a Christmas-themed fashion, drowning by eggnog, stabbings by the tree topper. Think of any Christmas-themed trinket, and Santa's got a way to use it as a weapon. The murders continue all through Alberta. Meanwhile, Nicholas Yulson learns the origins of Santa Claus from his grandfather, which is written in the Book of Claus. Santa was created by an immaculate conception of Satan. Until 1005 AD, Santa used Christmas Day as a day to kill, till an angel defeated him in a contest and sentenced him to 1,000 years of delivering presents. Now, in the year 2005, Santa was free to continue slaying once again. Santa continues his killing spree and targets Nicholas and his girlfriend, Mac. They are saved by Nicholas's grandfather, who turns out to be the angel who initially defeated Santa. By the end of Christmas, Santa loses all his powers, and he escapes to the North Pole, while a local pastor is assumed to be the murderous Santa. The movie ends with Nicholas vowing to finish what his grandfather started. Santa's Sleigh is a dark comedy slasher that shows Bill Goldberg as a Jack Santa Claus. Santa's Sleigh is perfect for your next watch if you prefer slasher movies with no serious plot points or twists. A Christmas Horror Story. Stephen Hoban, Grant Garvey, and Brett Sullivan's anthology movie, A Christmas Horror Story, is a film released in 2015. The movie is set in Bailey Downs, a fictional town, where Orphan Black and Ginger Snaps is also set. There are 4 stories in the movie, and they are all seen while Dangerous Dan, a radio DJ, plays music on his broadcast. The first story sees Dylan, Ben, and Molly Simon breaking into their school to investigate 2 murders that happened in the basement last year. As soon as they enter the basement, they get locked inside. Molly gets possessed by the ghost of a pregnant teacher named Grace. Grace used to be a student in the school when it was still a convent, and had died as a result of the abortion that the nuns gave her. As Molly, she tries to seduce her friends. She kills Dylan when he refuses and convinces Ben to impregnate Molly. She kills Ben after Molly is pregnant and allows her to go out. The second story is about Scott Peters, the detective who worked on the school murders. Scott goes to the woods with his son Will and wife Kim to chop down a Christmas tree. Will gets lost in the woods, but is found soon, and they all go home. The owner of the woods, Big Earl, calls them to tell them that they actually took a changeling home, and Will was probably still lost. The changeling kills Scott, and Kim takes him to Big Earl, who tells them that he can't help in finding Will because it is up to the changelings. Kim kills Big Earl, who had imprisoned the changelings in the woods, and the changelings return Will. In the next story, siblings Caprice and Duncan visit their Aunt Etta with their parents Taylor and Diane. Etta tells the misbehaving siblings about Krampus, but they pay no heed and continue to destroy her belongings, including a Krampus figurine. On their way back home, they are attacked by Krampus. Caprice, the only survivor, runs back to Aunt Etta's house and kills Krampus, who turns out to be Gerhardt, Etta's caretaker. Etta reveals that she knew his identity all along, to which Caprice, due to her rage against Etta, turns into the Krampus and kills Etta. The last story is about Norman, a mall Santa who suffers a psychotic break and assumes he's Santa himself. He thinks the mall goers are zombies, and the mall's manager, Mr. Taylor, is Krampus, and attacks them all. Before he can kill Krampus, the cops arrive and gun him down. Christmas Horror Story gives the sense of exchanging stories around a campfire, and is perfect if you suffer a short attention span. With interesting short stories and a solid score, this flick is a perfect addition to your December binge sesh. Silent Night, Deadly Night. This list is a treat for slasher film fans, as we have yet another slasher film for you, the 1984 movie, Silent Night, Deadly Night. The plot circles around Billy Chapman, who is terrified by Santa Claus after he watches a robber dressed as Santa kill his family. His fear is further worsened in the orphanage he grows up in, as he is regularly punished by the Mother Superior and forced to sit on Santa's lap. When he turns 18, he gets a job at the local toy store, where he is forced to play Santa Claus on Christmas. He's constantly depressed with nightmares of his parents' murder bothering. On Christmas Eve, in Santa suit, he sees his crush, Pamela, being sexually assaulted by his co-worker, Andy. He succumbs to insanity seeing this, and murders both of them. Billy continues his killing spree, ending up in the orphanage last. The cops catch up with him, as he's about to murder the Mother Superior, and when they shoot him, he tells the kids that they are safe now since Santa is gone. Robert Brian Wilson attracts viewers with his charismatic acting and the movie is a sensational slasher movie. The movie initially caused a stir because of its shocking plot and its on-the-top gore. You will definitely want to watch this movie, if not for the 80s nostalgia, then for the original special effects. Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale. What is Christmas without a bit of fantasy? Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale. The 2010 Finnish movie will fill your fantasy quota for the season. Directed by Jalmari Helander, the movie is inspired by Rare Exports Incorporated, a 2003 short film. In Lapland, a Sub-Zero research team discovers Korvatunturi, believed to be an ancient burial mound. Locals, Paitari and Juso, spy on them, and Paitari insists Santa Claus is real and punishes bad children. After the team detonates explosives, local reindeer hunters discover hundreds of dead reindeer in an empty excavation pit. They believe that the Sub-Zero team is responsible for the reindeer deaths, but they are nowhere to be found. On Christmas Eve, Paitari's father, Rano, catches a naked old man in a wolf trap. The old man is brought to Rano's slaughterhouse, where he bites off a neighbor's ear, and is later revealed to be an elf. Paitari discovers his friends are missing, replaced by straw effigies, and that local homes have been raided for heaters and potato sacks. Rano convinces the team that the old man is Santa, and they transport him in a cage. The Sub-Zero team discovers a horned man frozen in an ice block. Sub-Zero's leader, Riley, arrives by helicopter and warns the group that the old man is not Santa. The real Santa is the horned man in the ice block. The missing children are found in sacks beside the ice block. Elves begin attacking the Sub-Zero team. Paitari devises a plan, using a helicopter to lure the elves into a reindeer pit. They cut off Santa's horn and use explosives to kill him. The captured elves stop their rampage, and Rano's group trains them as mall Santas for export, turning the catastrophe into a bizarre business venture. This movie sheds light on the weird aspects of the Santa Claus legend and tradition. If you hate excessive gore but would like to watch a fun rampage movie, this is a great watch for you. Black Christmas. This 1974 movie is a classic holiday horror, as it narrates the story of a group of sorority girls who are stalked by a crazed killer. The killer breaks into the sorority house during a Christmas party and threatens the girls before stalking and killing them. The police discover a bit too late that the call is coming from inside the house. The only survivor, Jess, tries to escape as she begins to discover the bodies of her sorority sisters, and finding her boyfriend, Peter, in the house. She assumes he's the killer. She attacks and kills Peter only for the real murderer to attack her later, when the cops leave her, assuming the killer is dead. Black Christmas is an iconic milestone in the slasher genre and one of the earliest films in the genre. The atmospheric tension is palpable as the unsuspecting and innocent sorority girl are murdered one by one. Unlike usual slasher movies, this is not a plotless and chaotic gore fest, as the audience is left in the corner of their seats while trying to guess who the real murderer is. Grab your popcorn and settle down under blankets for this horrific thriller. Jack Frost. Starring Scott McDonald and Christopher Allport, Jack Frost is a 1997 movie which has garnered a cult following, focusing on a serial killer named Jack Frost. The movie begins with him escaping a state execution transfer vehicle. While escaping, he crashes into a chemical truck that makes him dissolve and fuse into the snow. The news report that Frost died. Meanwhile, mysterious murders begin to take place in the town. Ryan, a young boy, claims that a snowman committed all the murders, but no one takes his words seriously and assumes that Ryan has been affected by the trauma. FBI agents Manners and Stone, who are assigned to the murders, discover that Jack Frost has mutated into a snowman. Frost's reign of terror continued till he attacks Ryan and his father Sam. Sam throws antifreeze at him, and Frost melts into the floor. They pour him back into a container and bury it deep. The movie ends with one of the containers bubbling, indicating that Frost might still be alive. Jack Frost is definitely the movie for you if you like campy horror movies with a weird twist. Good Tidings. The 2016 movie Good Tidings has not one but three vicious killers dressed as psychotic Santa Clauses as they attack a group of squatters. The group, led by John Latham, a homeless war veteran, faces off against the attackers. Latham is not just fighting the Santas, as he is also forced to face his violent past to save his fellow men. You will soon be rooting for the squatters to defeat the unholy allegiance of the Santa. This movie is underrated because of its low budget, but you will delight in this gore-heavy movie if you don't mind your movie having a blood splatter. Marvelous Verdict. There's a good chance you haven't heard about these movies before. mainly because they are not mainstream film, and their low budget didn't allow for much promotion. But don't beat yourself up for not finding these gems earlier. Get set and watch them now. We hope we have filled your stockings virtually with this thrilling list of holiday horror movies. And we at Marvelous Videos wish you a holly jolly Christmas and happy holidays. Wish you a holly jolly Christmas and happy holidays. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.